Hello, we're going to go through comparing real numbers, and this should be somewhat familiar, but we're just kind of taking our time and going slow. And I just want to talk about a few specific things also with our calculators. I'm not putting this in present mode because I want to be able to type some things in as we go. So let's go on, and you're filling in your notes. If you didn't print the notes out, then you're just copying this from your, writing it down into your notebook. Okay, so to compare real numbers, it says we always want to change them to the same form. That's super important because they got to be alike to compare them. Most of the time, it is easiest to change them to decimal form. Okay. And the great thing about decimals, they're great because we can think of the numbers like money. We all like money, right? And we all understand more or less money. So that helps. If you need to pause the video at any point to fill in or write anything down, then please make sure you do that. Okay. So I want to talk about, though, how to change certain numbers to decimals. We already talked about square roots and how to do that. So I'm showing you my decimal screen. You could use this as a basic scientific calculator or basic calculator on your phone as well. Everything I'm doing right now, you could do on your phone. But I'm going to go to decimals just because that's what we've talked about using. Okay, so you would know to go down to the keypad. And let's see, I can't quite do this on mine. I'm going to hit square root of 15 and bam, there we've got our number. I'm going to hit enter. 3.87. Lots of digits here, but if we're going to think about it as money, we probably only need to go to the hundredth place. Really important though, be careful about your rounding. Okay, so 3.87 is roughly, let's see if I can do this, what the square root of 15 is in a decimal. Okay, so let's talk about 140%. Now, the cool thing was that on our other calculators that we're not using, there's things to do to easily change that percent to a decimal, but we're going to put a little more thought into it. Percents are always out of 100, right? So we can think of this as a fraction. We can think of it as 140 out of 100. Okay, that's fine. Let's think of that like a fraction. So when we go over here to our our calculator, I'm going to type in 140 divided by 100. Bam, 1.4. Now some of you may be thinking, well, Ms. Adams, I know how to change percents to decimals. If you remember how to move the decimal, all that good stuff, great, you do that. But I just wanted to show you a trick that you could do with your calculator. Okay? Okay, the next one I want to show you is we have a mixed number. And I talked about earlier this week how to do this with our calculator, but I want to give you another little suggestion on this. First of all, we know 4 is a whole number, and it's always going to go in front of the decimal. So this number, 4 and 10/13, is always going to be 4 point something. The only part we need to calculate is the fraction, 10/13. So again, I'm going to go back here to my calculator. I'm going to type in 10/13, and that's about, and I'm going to put 3 digits this time. I'm going to put 0.769. Okay, so we've got 4 point, what did I say, 769. Okay, so I'm just suggesting here you don't have to type in all of that into the calculator. Okay, okay, so let's compare some of these numbers. So let's see, we already have it. So we already did the square root of 15, and we found it to be 3.87. Not very big. I hope you can see that. and we're comparing it to 3.5. Well, think of this like $3.87 and $3.50 or 3.5, not 5 cents, that would be 50 cents. So which one is greater? I hope that you are saying that the square root of 15 is greater, and I'm going to find maybe our greater than sign, and I am going to insert it right there. So the square root of 15 is greater than 3.5. Okay, the next one, so the square root of 1.96, and I don't know that. Let's go check it with our calculator. Square root 1.96 is 1.4. Okay, so we've got 1.4 for the square root of 1.96. Earlier we changed 140% to a decimal. It was also 1.4, right? So that means that these are, whoops, not plus, these are equal. These two numbers are equal. Okay, and so then our last two numbers, we have 4.72 or $4.72. We already changed 4 and 10/13, and we got 4.769. So $4.76, $4.77. Either way, we're going to see that 4 and 10/13 is bigger. So I'm going to actually put in my less than sign. Okay, and so that's showing it's open to the 4 and 10/13, so it's showing that that number is greater. Okay. Okay, now let's talk about negative numbers for a second, because negative numbers, super tricky, they always get us here. Okay. Remember, the bigger the negative number, the smaller it actually is. So I've given us an example of a number line here so that we can see how the numbers work backwards on the negative side. Remember, -4, you think it's bigger, but it's actually smaller than -3. Okay, so let's see if we can compare some of these numbers. Okay, so 7/15. I don't know what 7/15 is, so I'm going to go to my calculator, and we get 0.466. So we have -2.466 or 67. Either way, our other number is -2.45. So we got to think, okay, if I were owing somebody money, which would be worse? Which one is going to be the smaller number? And I hope you're thinking -2.46 is the smaller number. So I'm going to put in my less than symbol, maybe. Here we go. So -2 and 7/15 is less than -2.45. It would be further down to the left on our number line. Okay, -415%. Remember I showed you that for that percent, I'm not going to worry about the negative sign. That's not important. I'm going to put 415 divided by 100. And that's 4.15. Okay, so I'm going to put -4.15. And then we're comparing it to -4.08. Which number is bigger? Which one is closer to 0? This one is closer to 0, -4.08. This is the bigger looking one, but we know with negatives, the bigger looking one is less. So again, this one is going to end up with a less than sign. And there we have it. Okay. Make sure when you finish copying your notes that you secure them in your notebook. That is very important that we are putting our notes in our notebook. And I'm going to stop it and go on now and complete your assignment.